What's going on, everybody? Minutes with Mellon. Take long videos and make them shorter. So, I guess there was a... We're just gonna straight burrow right into it about the garbage remark. This shit is fucking hilarious. You can't make this shit up. Like, I swear to God, every fucking week there's something.
There. It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Now, again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Tina is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Nobody understands what the fuck.
The White House is facing intense backlash.
Fuck yeah, they are. So, after that happened, the White House trying to alter the transcript of what he said. Like, what? What are you doing?
The White House is facing intense backlash for changing the transcript of President Biden's infamous garbage remark in what looks like an attempt to water down his major insult of Trump voters. Lucas Tomlinson is at the White House with the latest fallout. Lucas.
Well, Kaylee, you don't want to upset the White House stenographers armed with their hard-braced handbooks. You think this official transcript of President Biden's comments on that Zoom call are just not accurate. Here was Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro on Special Report last night with Brett Baer.
I do think folks understand this is a race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. I don't know that they're focused on things Trump surrogates say or anyone associated with the vice president says. They're focused on the words.
Comments.
I would never insult the good people of Pennsylvania or any Americans, even if they chose to support a candidate that I didn't support.
Now, here's the official transcript showing the world's most famous apostrophe on the word supporters from Biden's Zoom call while his vice president was speaking on the ellipse not far away. It was released without the approval of the stenographers, who are not political appointees. Earlier, House Republicans voicing their displeasure, writing the following White House letter, quote, President Biden's vindictive words were unsurprising given his previous statements regarding people who chose not to vote for his preferred candidate. Unsurprising, too, were the White House's actions after he said them. And here was Vice President Harris last night.
I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for, and I intend to be a president for all Americans, and including those who may not vote for me in this election.
Yeah, I hope fucking nobody votes for your fucking dumbass. So, JD went on Rogan, and he actually made a really good point. Thanks to Officer Tatum.
Let's hear JD Vance on Puerto Rico. You, of course, I'm sure, paid attention to the kerfuffle over
Which, Tony Hinchcliff, the guy that made the fucking comment, he's from Kill Tony. He's a comedian. Like, it's different when a comedian makes a remark versus a fucking president.
Comedian at the Trump rally at MSG. I think you even know this guy, right?
He's a good friend of mine.
Okay, yeah.
Tony Hinchcliff.
So he tells a joke about Puerto Rico. The number of mentions on CNN about this joke in the last 48 hours. This was as of last night. 143 on MSNBC, 101 on ABC, 53 on NBC, 32 and on CBS, 31. In 2 days, they talked about that joke effectively nonstop. You know what it means to have 31 mentions on NBC News about this particular thing? That is that is saturation. Last night, Joe Biden called the half of America that's going to vote for Donald Trump garbage. Do you think that the word garbage is going to appear on CNN 141 times over the next 2 days?
No.
I would bet no. Now, what's the difference? Well, one difference is that it was a comedian telling a joke, and it's the president of the United States telling what he actually thinks. Another difference is, again, it's a comedian with, at best, a tenuous connection to the Trump campaign. And on the other hand, you have the actual sitting president at a vice presidential campaign event telling the telling the entire country at an event sanctioned by the Kamala Harris campaign that half of Americans are garbage. And I guarantee the media is not going to cover this in the same way.
How a lot of this, you know, if you can call it a mind virus or whatever it is, it does make people behave religiously.
Yes.
So it's like they're ignoring all of these signs because it doesn't line up with this ideology that they subscribe to.
That's right.
Like you have to support trans kids. Like, okay, what are you even saying?
I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Every single day, my 4-year-old or 2-year-old will come to me and say something that is batshit insane because they're 4 and 2.
Yeah.
Like my 4-year-old will come and say, "Daddy, I'm a dinosaur." Right? I'm going to take him to like the dinosaur transition clinic and put scales on him. And
well, how is this a new thing so pervasive? How is it everywhere? And how are you letting them compete with girls in school? That one drives me bananas. When you have biological males, all they have to do is, they don't even have requirements in some schools. You don't have to be taking hormones. You can just identify and you can compete as a girl.
And of course that causes injury to the young girls.
Of course.
And again, this gives me...
Yeah, so that happened. And his take on it's actually, it makes sense. But Trump flipped it, like ridiculously flipped it. It's fucking hilarious.
For Republicans, but it appears that may be the case. Trump, for his part, he quickly seized on the moment in a big dig to Biden's comments. And in another made-for-TV visual for his campaign that went viral, look at him there. He rolled up in a MAGA garbage truck, wearing a bright orange vest to his campaign rally in Wisconsin.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Okay, so then he did a press conference from the garbage truck. We are still waiting for Kamala Harris to do one. He did one from a garbage truck. And then he stepped on the stage in Green Bay at his rally, still wearing the bright orange vest, and he defended his supporters.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do. Kamala and Joe call all of us, and them, even them, garbage. I call you the heart and soul of America. For the past 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racists, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, Nazis, and they called me Hitler. They bullied you, they've demonized us, they've censored us, they've deplatformed us, and they weaponized the power of our own government against all of us. They've taken your money, they've thrown open your borders to criminals and terrorists, they've given your jobs to illegal migrants and sent our blood and treasure to fight in stupid foreign wars where the countries don't even know who we are and where we've never heard of the country. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare you are not going to take it anymore.
Now, Emily, he technically did a gaggle from the truck. We did see Kamala give a gaggle, still maintain the fact she's not done one formal press conference. We await that. You've got about 6. And just some gimmicky stunt wearing a garbage man's vest. That is not what it was. He talked about all the things that have been done to American people. He connected it to policy, the grievances at the border, economically. And then he said, I'm standing up for you. To connect a flaw of Biden to policy and turn it around into a viral moment. It's really something to see.
Oh, it is. It's brilliant. But like of a deplorable of Iowa when the
but listen to him describe the decision here.
Then I got in the car and I'm driving over here and I have this still on. And I come into the arena and I say, "Where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing." And they said, "It would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage." I said, and I said, "No way." I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, "Oh, okay, sir." I said, "Get me my jacket." But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, "Ooh." And they got me. I said, "I want to wear it on stage." When they said I look thinner, I said, "In that case, I'll wear it on stage." I may never wear a blue jacket again. I may go.
All right, so you would know. I mean, you've worked with him in many different...
But he looked thinner, so...
Harris, and you have worked, as Emily has talked about, because she lived in California at the time, as long as she has on the public dole, right? Getting her paycheck from taxpayers as an attorney general, and now as vice president, how to connect with people. And to understand how to own a moment that your boss has created as American people. And it needs to be authentic, and it needs to be organic for you to own this moment. Go after a different comment. The reason that she can't own that moment right now is because it's not who she is. And she doesn't have more than 5 days to convince the public that she can do this. She can connect. And this isn't just about garbage.
To walk this back, crack me up because fascist Nazis, but don't try that Democrats have historically treated their voters. You even think back to have to answer to the American people. They want the power for themselves.
On that note, thank you for prompting that. Let's roll it.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
People have been beaten down so long, and they feel so betrayed by government.
So it's not surprising then that they get bitter. They claim to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, and a way to explain their frustrations.
If you voted for Trump, you voted for the person who the Klan supported. You voted for the person who Nazis support. You voted for the person who the alt-right supports.
He also knows deep in his heart that Donald Trump couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you had the letter U and a picture of an actual physical crane next to it. He knows that this is, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. The credulous boomer Rube. Trump's a smart one in there. Oh, y'all elitists are dumb.
Mark.
To Biden's comment. So 6 months ago, when it was obvious that Joe Biden was incognito.
Yeah, so that happened. There's a bunch of shit happening in Pennsylvania with the voting. Joe Biden tried to eat a baby. It's fucking weird.
And forms, all written by the same person. Really bad stuff. He says, what is going on in Pennsylvania? Law enforcement must do their job immediately. Wow. I'm from the Keystone State, and I'm wearing these badges at polling places. I'm telling you, stay. If they're telling you to go home, stay in line. It's your constitutional duty. You have the authority to stay in line and vote.
Well, beyond that.
Yeah, the Amish. This is the first time it looks like they're going to be voting, according to reports.
I don't have to answer you, and you may leave.
No, this is a public place. I don't have to. Because I see your tag, and
you don't have the right to talk to me. So
this is America and a public place, so I have every right to talk to you.
You don't have the right to
So,
talk
are
to
you
me.
a poll watcher?
I am here
for early vote monitoring. For early vote monitoring. Oh,
different.
early vote monitoring. Early vote monitoring.
You do not have my permission to videotape.
This is public.
I don't give a damn.
Do you know the law?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do. So then, do you know that I'm allowed to videotape you in public?
No, you don't have a right.
Yes,
to
I do.
videotape
This is
me.
public.
I have told you, you do
This is
not.
public.
First Amendment. Thank you.
Okay, so let me tell you exactly where to go, because today the Justice Department released and secure elections. If you see this, sure, send it to redacted, but we can't fix it. This department that's run by Democrats that may not be rights.justice.gov. That's where you go. So you need to be doing this.
Civilrights.justice.gov. Maybe we can put that even up on the screen if we're able to. I don't know. Civilrights.justice.gov. Go ahead, David.
I also want to make it a criminal offense to harass poll workers, and I don't think that was any mistake that they did that, because they're expecting this and they want to.
Here about 4 o'clock to vote. Are they going to
ask you to talk to this?
Are they going to turn everyone down?
I'm going to ask you to talk to this gentleman because the voting is closed right now.
It's closed.
I just want you to talk to this gentleman.
We have the right to vote until 4:30.
I got you.
Why is it closed?
Let me explain it to you.
Please.
Okay. This process is very slow and grueling.
That doesn't matter if we're online.
Very slow and grueling.
Doesn't matter if we're online by 4:30. We have the right to
why
vote.
it had to close was because a high volume of people wanted to do this. Slow and grueling.
Well, then they
So
have to wait till everyone's.
They had to cut the line at 1:45.
They cut the line at 1:45.
1:45.
You hear that, everyone? They cut the line at 1:45.
Here's the
This
form
is
right
voter fraud, by the way. Who?
No, it's
who are
not.
You? Yes, it is.
So you have the right to vote until 5 p.m. They cut the line at 1:45. They put up these little, stands there. Someone here in our chat just thank you for your $5. I live in Bucks County. I think it was Andrea said. So they are closing this down.
This is crazy.
No, they had these people, they had about 12 of them walked in. They were all foreigners. And then they took them up. These younger people helped them to fill out they say vote PA today.
Yep.
And then
Vote
they took
today,
them up
PA, yep.
and somehow they beat a 2-hour line. And then they walked up and the one lady, they were even asking her, they're like, we don't have you in the system. Your name's not right. And they're like, oh, well, we'll take it back and change it.
Yeah.
How do you change your damn name?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Oh, like this is happening in Pennsylvania, folks. So if you see a bus of illegals,
These people are just.
It's 2:41,
taking the line sign
and they are
doing
ending the
whatever
line.
fuck they want with it. And of course,
52% to 40.
This is on ABC. Oh, somehow Harris already won the presidential election. 100% reporting. Imagine that in the state of Pennsylvania.
7%. Now we didn't mean to do that. We didn't mean to put that up on the screen.
How do you accidentally make that graphic? Oops. I just fell on my computer and made a graphic.
I accidentally typed Kamala 52%.
Look what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever heard that? Like if you put a that way.
Michigan, also Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says there's a nationwide issue right now with Dominion voter access terminals preventing voters from making certain selections. Trouble with Dominion voting machines, you say?
Dominion machines?
Issues with the programming of
Go figure.
bats to be fixed. I saw the release from the
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's again affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability.
You're working with Dominion, are you? Okay. Well, if you're working with Dominion, then it's good. Oh, voting machine passwords were leaked. Imagine that. You don't say.
Well, we're disclosing what happened. If we are in a situation where we have good information to know that there is a security threat, we will notify and I will take action, but that's just not where we're at.
So just want to make sure I've got a clear answer to that question. It sounds like what you're saying is the only people investigating the actions of your office are your office, unless I'm mistaken. Is there an outside agency that's investigating what happened in your office?
Well, what happened in my office is very straightforward.
It's very straightforward.
We fucked up.
That's
what happened.
We
and
put out these passwords, and so we're gonna look into ourselves.
Yeah,
we're gonna navel gaze into ourselves and investigate ourselves. It's very straightforward.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do what. Well, I think the kid was. I think it was in the Netherlands where a kid like found a government website and accidentally ended up in the back end where he had everybody.
Actually, when he was later, his is like himself.
All of the email about multiple reports, not just one person with a camera. I am trying to vote for Donald Trump. Keep trying to vote for Donald Trump. Oh, you know what? You don't want to vote for Donald Trump, and it switches it to Kamala Harris. Can we play that again? It's unbelievable. Press Donald Trump. It just flips it right over to Kamala Harris. I mean, you can see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll try with my thumb now. How about with my other finger? Oh, that one will work? Oh, sure. But you want Kamala.
Oh my gosh. All right. And said, will they do it? First, what they were after was quite apparent when the reporter texted Tucker Carlson from not only making money on this content, but platforming them. They don't want the creators to share the money at all. Only the things that they mark as election lies are things that are more questions than answers. Like,
there's been a lot of noise about people who aren't U.S. citizens voting in our elections. But here's the truth. Only U.S. citizens can register to vote or cast a ballot in our elections. Anyone who claims otherwise is intentional, and it is extremely rare.
Christian Adams.
Right. Show
12 of them walked in. They were all foreigners. And then they took them up. These younger people helped them to change.
Reported, and it all starts. Of course, that's where a lot of these.
I found the source of exactly where all these illegals are getting put on the voter rolls, and it's going to be made public very, very soon. And I'll tell you right now where it is. And it's an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center. It's led by a guy named David Becker, who was involved in a scandal while he was a U.S. attorney, and he essentially contacted the city of Boston while he worked for the DOJ, and the DOJ sued Boston over voting rights, claiming that he would help them get out of it. He then worked for PFAW, the People for the American Way, a far-left organization. Then he went on to work for Pew, and with George Soros' money, he created an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center, which is known as ERIC. And then ERIC contracts with the states to get your DMV records, all that sensitive data that nobody else can get, that's protected under the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. That's where they're finding out the ineligible voters. That's where they're finding out who in the state isn't registered to vote. And their membership agreement prohibits you from disclosing to them who is or is not a citizen. So you send all the information to people that live there. Don't tell them if they're citizens or not. And they pump those names onto the voter rolls, and then they circulate it back. And then they give it to the other organization David Becker found, which is the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which is the recipient of all those Zucker bucks from back in 2020.
So great job to Citizen AG for that. Well, the Supreme Court has now ruled, at least in Virginia, that non-citizens cannot vote. CNN just admitted on camera that this will